Hey guys, it's Tammy. Welcome to my channel. Join me today as I finally get to sniff these popular and hyped perfumes. I actually rarely talk about the samples that I get from Scentbird because I get so many. I have dozens and dozens and dozens of Scentbird samples that I have not shown on my channel. If you're interested to see those, let me know. But I don't know, there's so many that it's too overwhelming for me to think about, you know, preparing a video on all of them. But in this latest sample order that I just got from Scentbird, they are ones that I've been wanting to smell for ages. And I was so excited to get them. So I thought I would share them with you guys. The first one is Siren and Sailors by Jusbox. And I want to say this is close to being a love, but I haven't had it long enough to really call it a true love. But what I love about the scent is it has two chapters to it. Chapter 1 is where it smells just like, you know, Roses Vanille by Mañana, sort of like Deluxe by Tiziana Terenzi. Like it has that, you know, deep jammy rose vibe. I believed so strongly in chapter 1 that I actually really went through and compared which of that scent profile reminded me the closest of Siren and Sailors, and it was Sweet Diamond Pink Pepper by Cacao. So last night before bed, I sprayed Siren and Sailors on one hand and Sweet Diamond Pink Pepper on the other hand. And they were close. They were very, very, very close. But then came chapter 2 of Siren and Sailors. And that is where the two went in opposite directions. And, you know, it reminded me a lot of that poem, Two Roads Diverged in a Yellow Wood. The Road Not Taken is the name of that poem. And so Sweet Diamond Pink Pepper went down the chocolatey patchouli road, and Siren and Sailors went down the fruity jammy rose path. It definitely has a booziness, but a lot of times I don't like the smell of booze in a fragrance, but I really liked it in here. It's not sharp. And it's so fruity and rosy. It's sort of like peach jam and rose petals together. So over time, Sweet Diamond Pink Pepper and Siren and Sailors became nothing alike, where they started out like almost identical. And Siren and Sailors went so far in the fruity direction that it was reminding me of BDK Pas Ce Soir. Now, I have not had the opportunity yet to compare those two. I did end up with another headache after smelling all of these in one day. That was 2 days ago. So I don't know. What am I putting myself through for these videos? But anyway, yeah, it's just, I do want to compare this to Pas Ce Soir because I feel like they would be quite similar. I would have to wait until chapter 1 is over. It's only chapter 2 of Siren and Sailors that would smell like Pas Ce Soir. The next one in my Scentbird order is Cirque du Soleil. I've been wanting to smell this one for so long. And I do like the caramel popcorn vibe in fragrances, so I thought I would probably like it. When it opens up, it almost has a smoky touch to it. It's one of the only fragrances I've ever smelled where it opens up with a smokiness and the smokiness fades. In almost every other case, if there's smokiness in a fragrance, it's way into the dry down before I get that smokiness. But this was like smokiness up top, and then it faded off, and I never got it again for the rest of the fragrance after the first half hour. But when it opens up, it smells like one of those dry caramel popcorn balls, and it's not burnt, but that smokiness that I get is coming almost from like a toasty vibe. It's almost like not as sweet, but it gets sweeter and sweeter, creamier, more caramelly, and more buttery, very much more buttery over time. This I just sprayed this morning on this strip, even though I had tried it on skin a few days ago. And it did pretty much the same thing on my skin as it did on the paper. Started out a little smoky, and then it slowly starts getting more buttery, more caramel, more of like a sweet popcorn. Oh, it's really good. My husband smelled this on me and he said, "Oh, I smell yummy cake." I really liked this one. Would I want to purchase it? I'm not sure. I could probably do with a decant. Maybe I'll add a decant of this to my Scentbird queue. Next, I'll talk about Cacao Porcelana. So interesting. You guys, I was expecting just almost like a dry concrete and cement with cocoa powder. That's what I was kind of expecting to get out of it. but I got Jasmine City, Jasmine Central, Jasmine Palooza, Jasmine Orama, Jasmine, but it's the indolic kind, like the very animalic, not quite rotten, not, you know, just, it smells like poo. It smells sort of like bad breath. It's the indolic type of jasmine. I'm not hating it though. I'm not, like, sometimes those indolic jasmines can read a little bit sexy to me. I mean, don't take that the wrong way, but like it can. And on skin, that jasmine was all I got for hours. I would say about 3 hours later, I kept on smelling my skin because at that time I had it on my skin. I was like, oh, now I'm getting cocoa powder dusted over the indolic jasmine. It is really like a fine dusting of the finest cocoa powder. You just took one of those little sifters and you hit it all over your little bowl of indolic jasmine blossoms. I mean, that there's really nothing else to say about that because that's just what I get from it. And I did not hate it. Next, Carioca Heart, also by Jusbox. This was a trip. This was a trip south. This was a trip to a resort. This is a trip where they hand you the rum punch the minute you step on the resort. They give you a cold, wet face cloth. You know, you're sweating on the, you know, the bus ride to the resort. They give you this cold towel and a glass of rum punch. Also reminds me exactly of when we were on a cruise way back years ago when the kids were little. We left them at home with my parents and we went on a cruise with, at the time, Michael didn't own his own company, so he had a boss. We went with his boss and his wife. And we went snorkeling in St. Thomas. And after the whole snorkeling session was over, and by the way, I didn't swim. I learned to swim later. I learned to swim when I was 32 or 33. And the kids were so proud of me and clapping for me and cheering for me. They're like, Mom, you're doing it. But back then I didn't swim, but I had on all these flotation devices and I was terrified. When I got off the boat into water, it was the first time I'd been in water over my head. And Michael's boss, he never could get over how wide my eyes got. He said, I've never seen anyone's eyes go that wide in my life. I would just like clutching onto Michael because I'd never been in water over my head. But once I realized that the life jacket would hold me up, I was the only one who successfully snorkeled the whole time and never got water in my mask. Michael and the other two were just constantly like draining water out of their mask and spitting and spewing and getting water up their nose. Mine just stayed perfectly on. I felt like an expert snorkeler, even though I didn't know how to swim. And I got to see a lot of fish and turtles. And as soon as we got back on the boat and we're headed back in, guess what they handed us? Rum punch. And this is rum punch. This is like, it's so realistically a rum punch that it just takes me to every time I've ever been on a resort and had. Now, I did ask Michael what it smelled like, and he said it smells like a pina colada. So I do get that too, but to me, it's more rum punch. I get like a pineapple-y, mango, and like a beautiful sweet rum. I'm not always the biggest on rum, honestly. It's got quite a, I don't know, it's quite pungent or something, but I love rum punch and I love Carioca Heart. The only thing about it is, as much as I love to smell it, and I feel like I would want to carry around like a little pouch with that smell and smell it, you know, smell it all the time, but I don't think I'd want to wear it. I don't know if that makes sense. Have you ever had a smell that you really loved the smell and you loved to smell it, but you didn't want to wear it and smell like it? That's sort of me in Carioca Heart. I love it. It's so cool how they captured the smell of like, oh my gosh, I get the pineapple, I get the mango, I get the rum. That's what I get. And it's so realistic, but I just don't, and it stays very linear. It never changes the whole time, but I just don't think I'd want to smell like it. But I'm glad I got to smell it. And the last one from my Scentbird order is Amour Infinite by Navitus. Oh, it is really pretty. It's really pretty. Now, I'm telling you, this one is a little bit hard to describe. And I can tell you I'm getting fruity, I'm getting floral, I'm getting feminine, definitely. I'm getting a lot of sweetness, a little bit, just a little bit of greenness, like a fresh, sweet type of greenness. But there's something in this that was reminding me of another fragrance, and I couldn't for the life of me think of it. I had it on my skin. I had it on all evening. I kept on smelling the spot over and over again, shuffling through images in my mind, shuffling through perfumes in my mind. Like I would take a deep, deep, deep breath, like slowly breathe in and just keep shuffling through things in my mind, what it reminded me of. The moment that it hit me, was so satisfying. It was so satisfying. And not that it smells exactly like it. It's just that I was getting a hint of a reminder of another fragrance, and I figured it out. And it was Exalté by Fumi Monet, which smells, if you haven't smelled that, it smells the same as La Chapa Ajwad. And if you haven't smelled La Chapa Ajwad, it smells like a Seal Special Edition. And if you haven't smelled that, it smells like Baccarat Vanille by Les Fleurs du Golfe, or also Extreme Vanilla by Fleur du Golfe as well. They all smell like, they all have that very, very sweet green rosy smell. Now, I am not saying this smells just like Exalté. I'm just saying that that's what it was reminding me of, and I finally figured it out, and it was like so, oh, I was like, yes, got it. I really like Amour Infinite. It's really sweet. It's really pretty and girly. It's like sweet, kind of, it sort of reminds me of strawberry. I don't have the notes in front of me. I should actually look it up just to see, because does it have berries? Oh, red fruits and pomegranate, pineapple, yeah. Oh, and white chocolate, right? And driftwood, sandalwood, heliotrope. This is nice. This is really nice. Yeah, I like it. So now on to a couple of samples that I got from Mind Games. I got Prodigy and Mentor. And now there are a couple more that they've come out with. And now I want to smell those. I think there's Opera Mate, and there's another one that came out at the same time as that. I can't remember the name of it. But anyways, I have been wanting to smell Prodigy and Mentor for so long. I could not order them until the strike was over. Once it was, I placed my order. And it had been so long since I'd heard anyone talk about them that when they arrived, I kind of wanted to surprise myself. I wanted to play a little game and just see if I could guess the notes. So it was like I was sniffing them blindly, because I could not remember a thing about what anyone had said about them. I just knew I had wanted to smell them. So I started with Mentor. I sprayed it on skin, and my first thought was this is very ambery. That's kind of how I would sum up the vibe, was very ambery. And then I decided to start guessing the notes. So the first guess that I had was caramel. And then I guessed myrrh and something woody like cedar or oud. And I thought I was picking up something fruity, and I thought maybe it was raspberry. And I smelled something fresh and spicy, and I thought it was something like caraway seeds. And then when I looked at the notes and I saw coffee, I was like, I should have picked up on that. Now I can smell it in there after seeing it. So no, there's no myrrh, but there's resin, you know, that kind of, and there's no raspberry, but there's plum. So all in all, it's a very like thick, rich, ambery, chewy, almost like black licorice, heavy. It's nice. It's a very well done fragrance. Is it my style? Maybe not so much, but I think it's really well done. I think it's very interesting. Yeah, it reminded me a little bit, just a hint of something like Lune Feline or Rouge Soleil by Atelier des Ors, just that thick chewiness that they have. When it dried down, it was giving me vibes, like the sort of thickness and richness of Jardins de Misfah. I'm not saying it smells like that, but that's what it was kind of giving me. Anyway, I liked it. Very glad to be able to get to smell these. I mean, to me, it's just a joy just to get to smell. You know how they say it's an honor just to be nominated. That's how I feel. And like it's an honor just to smell them. Just let me smell them. I just want to smell them. I wish I lived near a store where I didn't have to, you know, spend $20 per sample. But anyway. So now on to Prodigy. And I did the same thing, a little guessing game with that, where I just wanted to try to guess what the notes were. There's not much left on the strip, but that's a couple days old. So let's just see if one spray is enough. So you guys, on paper, I did not get this the first time. So when I first tested it on skin, I did not pick up on any Delina vibes. I never even crossed my mind. But when I sprayed it on paper, oh wow. It had strong resemblances to Delina. The very first time I sprayed Prodigy on my skin, the words that came to mind were fresh and woody. So then I started to try to guess the notes. I guessed rose, I guessed a citrus, and I guessed woods. Now, I was thinking it was something maybe like cypress. That's the type of woods that I was getting from it. And then over time on my skin, it started getting more creamy. And so I was picturing milk and vanilla, like a vanilla milk was sort of what I was getting. And later in the dry down, it was giving me a bit of that creamy woodiness that you would get late in the dry down of Guidance, something like that. That's sort of like the base that it was giving me. And I don't get the Delina vibes on my skin, but I do on paper. So anyways, I really want to play around with these more and even try to do a wear test. Like I said, I just don't have enough time to test everything and do a full wear test. But yeah, those are my Mind Games samples. And I do want to pick up Opera Mate and the other one. I can't remember what it is. Let me know in the comments below and let me know if I should try them. So next up, we have this sample set by Une Nuit Nomade, and these are the 3 new extraits. And we have Jardins de Misfah, Estrella de la Mañana, and Silver Saffron. And I really got this set because of Jardins de Misfah. I love Jardins de Misfah. It is one of my favorite scents. I love it. And I especially love to layer it with rose scents to bring out that rose even more. So this is the original. This is my 25 ml, and you know, it's got a little dent. It'll probably get a little deeper dent over the winter. I wasn't really sure what to expect with Estrella de la Mañana or with Silver Saffron. I'd heard a little bits and pieces about it, but I wasn't really sure what to expect. First of all, I absolutely love this packaging. Here's a little card that came with it. And they wrote my name on it. So cute. And the feel of this is, it's velvety without any velvet. You know what I mean? It's just that, oh, I love that. And they even gave you these little cards with the name of each one that you can spray on there, and the samples. So, Estrella de la Mañana was an intense, nose-burning, strong licorice and smoke. Like you took one of the licorice pipes and actually lit it on fire. It's earthy, unbelievably spicy and smoky. There's certainly some type of sweetness in there, and when I looked up the notes, I discovered it must be the cocoa and vanilla and the benzoin. The only other note listed is birch, but I've never smelled a birch like that. Those are my notes. When I had sprayed it on my skin a few nights before, I remember not thinking it was too bad, but I barely even want to put this up to my nose. The level of smoke, charred, realistic smoke, just it's like you had a bonfire that you could never ever get away from, and in your whole life was just a bonfire, and it just took over. It's pure smoke, you guys. Anyway, on to Silver Saffron. Let me read you what I said. Sort of like the previous one in the way it burns your nose and clears your sinuses, but this is less sweet. I definitely get the saffron, and I like that part of it. I did like the saffron in Silver Saffron. But again, I'm getting tons of smoke. And there it is. It's not as smoky as Estrella de la Mañana. It's so hard to say. It had a little bit of freshness, a little bit of fresh aromatic quality to it. So Estrella de la Mañana and Silver Saffron are screaming, stay in your lane, Tammy. Stay in your lane. What are you doing? What are you doing with these? I can almost hear them say, are you lost, little girl? What are you doing in this bad part of town? Where's your mommy? They're looking at me like, side-eye, Chloe. They're scary. And just when I thought I was so scared that I pulled the covers over my head, I heard a voice saying, it's okay, honey. I'm here. It's Jardins de Misfah. You're safe now. Jardins de Misfah Extrait is identical to the original in every way. And although I would sometimes fool myself by smelling one first and then the other, I would think, oh, actually, maybe the Extrait version is a little more creamy, a little more sweet. But then if I smelled them in the opposite order, then I would think the original was a little creamier and a little sweeter. So if you like Jardins de Misfah, you would also like Jardins de Misfah Extrait. They are so identical, but there is one major difference, and that is, here I have the 2 test strips. The OG, the paper smells like it's empty. It's gone. Whereas the Extrait still smells as strong as 2 days ago when I sprayed it. So it's much stronger and longer lasting. I don't know if I would want something any stronger and longer lasting than Jardins already is. I already find it a pretty darn good performer. If I ran out of my 25 ml, which I probably eventually will, I don't know which I would go for, honestly. I love the new bottle. It's so pretty. You know, it's this whole vibe here. It's gorgeous. I think that is gorgeous. So I'd almost be tempted, where there's really no difference in the smell, to go for this, except for the price, right? So I don't know. They're so close. So I was happy. You know, I should have just purchased that, but honestly, the price of the entire Discovery set wasn't bad. And I ordered it directly from the company. And when I had ordered my 25 ml of Jardins, I ordered this directly from the company as well. They're very easy to deal with. I don't have duty and, you know, charges to pay when they arrive. So far, I've had really good luck with ordering directly from the company. So anyway, Silver Saffron and Estrella de la Mañana. Try saying that with the liners on. Were way out of my lane. So far out of my comfort zone. I felt like I feel like I don't even deserve to describe them, because it's not my area of expertise. Not that I have expertise, but it's just not, I don't know what I was doing with these two. They're scary. But Jardins, it's, I mean, you guys, it's identical. It's identical to the original. There may be slight differences, but I'm not picking them up. Again, I'm not an expert, but I don't pick up any differences in the two. Now, a sample that I had ordered for my birthday from my fragrance group, Byredo Desert Dawn. This sounded like it would be right up my alley, but I do get the dill pickle vibe from this one, unfortunately. I mean, I'm not saying I don't like dill pickles, but I don't want to smell like a dill pickle. It's not, yeah, it's dill. I definitely smell dill. I know what dill smells like, and this smells like dill. I do find this very, very, very close to a fragrance that I own. I have decluttered it. I've attempted to sell it. I have not been able to sell it, so it is still in the house, and this is Olfactive Studio Lumiere Blanche. This is almost identical, but it is about 10% as strong. So it's very, 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 very light and weak compared to Olfactive Studio Lumiere Blanche. And the reason I tried to sell it is because I was getting a hint of dill from that. And I get a little speck more dill in Desert Dawn. So Desert Dawn is not the one for me. Like I said, it's almost so spot on to Lumiere Blanche, you can't even believe it. But if you like that, then stick with that one, because it's much stronger and Desert Dawn is much lighter. Unless you like something very, very, very light and refreshing, then this would be perfect for you. And if you don't tend to get dill pickle from this type of sandalwood, you know, you might love this one. It just was not the one for me. So that is all I have for you guys today. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please give it a like and make sure you subscribe to the channel. I'd love to hear from you guys in the comments below as well. I love chatting with you guys and finding out what your thoughts are, because we're all so different. Some of these that I love, you might not like, and some of the ones I absolutely couldn't stand, maybe you love them. I'd love to hear that, because it's really fun to see the differences that we have, and it's just what makes perfume perfume. So anyway, thank you guys so much for watching today, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.